booties for black girl nerds.
Sure, Jeandra LeBeauf, Black Girl Nerds. Thank you so much for your performances in this film. It was fascinating, and it's not usual that you get to see horror with the turn from the lens of from an African lens and perspective, and that was very refreshing and unique for me to see. Wunmi, with your character, there is the ability to commingle those two things for an audience to enjoy. What are you most proud of with your character and what she had to overcome and what we learned throughout the course of the film?
I think the thing I'm most like in awe of with Rial is this kind of acceptance of who she has become, who her husband is, and who he's become, and not being kind of fearless in that acceptance. And I think one thing that I really appreciate, well, I think that, they're both haunted by what they've been through, and this house is haunting them. And there's a world where they both think they're right. They both think that their experience is true, and then and acknowledging that they're both being manipulated in this, and that the journey is about their joining together and facing it together rather than on opposing sides. And I think that's a perfect depiction of how a good relationship needs to be in a time of trauma and tumult and horrors.
Absolutely. And there is a lot of that, each of them experiencing it their own separate ways. Ṣọpẹ, with your character, in addition to what's happening at the home, he's starting to venture out. Your character, Bol, is starting to venture out and is starting to experience the pressures of assimilation and being in a new place. What is that journey like for him and to battle that in addition to what's rooted in his culture that's occurring at his home?
It's a deep and multi-layered question. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think the intersection is that he is willing, unfortunately, to sacrifice a lot of the latter for the former in order to assimilate, which is hard and is entirely dependent on the people who you're trying to assimilate into, whether or not they accept you, or if they reject you, or if they make your life difficult. He wants that so badly, to escape the person that he had to be in order to survive. He is willing to leave everything from that point backwards behind him, which means his life in South Sudan. That means the relationships he built and who he knew he was before he was affected by the war in his country, which is kind of devastating that people may feel that they have to reject so much in order to assimilate into a new society. And it has a lot of historical references and connotations, but that's the journey that he's going on over the course of the film.
Right. Thank you so much for your time. This is an incredible film. It's so different than anything I've seen, and I enjoyed your performances greatly. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Bye.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerds. Better shake your booties for black girl nerds.